On any given night, 360,000 men, women, families, veterans, and children are sleeping on our streets, in tents, or in temporary shelters.
That's just in California. State Assemblymember Fong, a longtime advocate for the homeless, is trying to do something to combat homelessness. That's why Assemblymember Fong hosted a hearing to find answers from experts on the situation, a situation exacerbated by the current down economy.
In fact, due to the economic crisis, the state has seen an increase in families with children living on our streets or in homeless shelters.
And the weak economy means government has fewer resources to help.
However, we all know that there aren't that many more federal dollars. The state is not generating that many dollars, and communities have endured cuts after cuts. So one of the best practices is really about finding ways to work together across systems.
Stacey Murphy of the Bay Area homeless advocacy group Home Base testified at the hearing. She emphasized that agencies are duplicating services because they don't communicate and coordinate their efforts.
Making sure that the ways in which homeless individuals and families are touching the system aren't happening in 7 different places in an incoherent and uncoordinated ways.
It's a problem that Assemblymember Fong has been trying to solve for a while.
In fact, in the state of California, we have 11 agencies that deal with the homelessness issues, and they operate in silos. They don't communicate with each other, so I introduced the bill Interagency Council on Homelessness.
This council would be able to address issues together and provide a higher level of service, which would create a greater efficiency of the dollars spent.
By creating this Interagency Council on Homelessness, we'd be eligible for Vento-McKinley funds, federal funds as well, and so we'd get millions of dollars that we don't get right now from the federal government if we created this Interagency Council on Homelessness and have a 10-year plan to address the homelessness.
California is one of the few states that doesn't currently have an Interagency Council on Homelessness, even though California has the largest homeless population in the nation.
For a long time, the myth was that folks don't really want housing, and we know now that's not true. We know that 85% of the time, permanent supportive housing works for the most chronically homeless individual in America.
Jennifer Loving, executive director of Destination Home, also testified at the hearing. She says investing in permanent solutions for homeless now will save money in the long run.
We know that nearly 100% of the time, permanent supportive housing is cheaper than keeping folks outside. We know that the amount of resources that chronically homeless men, women, and families use is much more expensive than what it costs to provide permanent supportive housing.
Assemblymember Fong believes in that solution and points to its success in Los Angeles.
In the Skid Row, they have a very good model of long-term housing for the homelessness population, and the services, the medical services, the mental health services, all the services are included with the long-term housing. And so that is the least expensive model and the most effective model to address the homelessness population. And that's the model that we're heading towards right now.
Assemblymember Fong says this hearing and his legislation are just a few ways he's trying to find solutions to the homelessness issue in California, and he vows to continue to fight for those who don't have a place to call home.
Everyone should have a roof over their head.
This report was produced by the Speaker's Office of Member Services.